Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast. My name is Coach Scott. I'll be your host today. I got a special guest with me today. We're gonna forego the normal intro because we got a lot of conversation here we want to talk about. I got Scott Frasard with me. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Thank you, Scott. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's been, you've probably been on the podcast, this would be number 3, 4?
Three
times?
think.
Three times. I think we've done it. Every time we've done a race, I've had you on the podcast. And once again, you're here with me. And I got to tell you, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like I've known you forever. It's only been 3 years, but you've helped me every single year, and you're sort of like my partner in crime when it comes to the Ordinary Marathon. So I want to thank you for that. I'm looking forward to this year.
You know what? I've really enjoyed it, and I want to thank you for letting me be a part of this. I feel like I've kind of grown with the race, and it's been wonderful to be part of it.
Yeah, it's been great. And, it's like we both kind of like bang our heads against the wall sometimes when it comes to like getting people to register and trying to find people. And, I think both of us are out of pocket pretty much every year with this race. I think we do it because we love our group. We love the team. We love the people that are involved. We love the charity. It's really a great event for both of us. And it's been absolute pleasure working with you for the last 3 years.
Same here. Hearing your passion just, fuels my passion for running and triathlons. And, we both hit our highs and lows, and we're both there for each other. And I think that's kind of like the underlying theme of this entire race is we're there for each other.
Yeah. It's now that you say that, it's really, it's kind of like a microcosm of the race. The whole sort of vibe that the race gives off. One of the things that I love about when you just talk about it that way is, in the very beginning of the Ordinary Marathon, we were asked, like, what kind of race was this going to be? And it was one of those things where, hey, it's got marathon in the title, right? Why? So should it be a full marathon? And we're doing over 10 days, and we're thinking, well, maybe that's a good idea, maybe not, I don't know. But we really just kind of strayed away from that, shied away from that. And we just wanted to be open for everybody.
Yes.
And we didn't want to have to say, all right, you got to run, because we didn't want to scare people away. Because I think one of the big things about our community is that it's inclusive of runners of every skill level, whether you're a beginner or ultra runner. And you really see that in the race itself, because you'll see people run 100 miles in 10 days, and you'll see people, just go for a few walks and try to just, and take pictures of their dogs and stuff like that. And it really has like a family sense, I think. And, I think that's kind of, it's the same way of our relationship has been when it comes to actually putting the race together.
Absolutely. And like I said, that's one of the things that I really appreciate about this is it's welcoming of all skill level. I'm certainly no elite athlete. I'm no Andy Potts or anyone of that ilk. But I like the sport. I like running. I like triathlons. And the people that are like you and I, where we enjoy it, but we're never going to be pros at it. There's a sense of community there that I think your group and this race in particular really brings out the best in everybody.
Yeah, and the social media aspect and just everyone kind of roots for you're not like rooting against anyone. You always root. There's no one that you root against. You just every time someone posts a run and says, "Hey, I've been involved. I've been active today. I'm fulfilling a goal or I'm fulfilling it's a lot for a lot of people. It's tough to have the discipline to do this every day. But then when you get the camaraderie and the and the support of each other, you see people people really get out there and they stay involved. It helps that they could potentially win a prize.
Yes. and I think that's especially important in this current situation that we find ourselves in, where we are not able to freely move about as we were last year. So having some way to commiserate together, as it were, but also to be physically active so we can still feel good and move about and that sort of thing. I think that's a really important part of this too.
Yeah, it's I think for some people have, especially I think, with this disease, it's like the older you are, the more susceptible you are to, having trouble with it. And so for a lot of people in the community, when you go outside, you have to make sure that you're taking precautions and whatnot. I think, I think for the younger generation, maybe it's not as, I think we're kind of in the middle there. It's like, we might have trouble. We might be okay, but, it's certainly something to be concerned about.
So it could be an issue.
Yeah, I do too, but I don't think as bad as you have it, but, I have a history of it. So it's just, it's one of those things. And, I think about it like, going out and even just getting water. Maybe the store that you used to go run by that, to get water in the middle of your long run, maybe it's closed, or maybe now you need to wear a mask, but you don't run with a mask. So it's, all these new little things that we had, little challenges, but now, as annoying as they may be, maybe it's, with the race, it's like something that you could at least work towards overcoming. And, one of my challenges has always been, my daughter sleeps from 1 to 3. So I can try to get on the treadmill if I can, but then after she wakes up, I gotta watch her, and those hours are prime hours for me to run. Yeah. So now she's to the point where I could pop her in the running stroller and go, and I've kind of been using it as an excuse not to do it. But now it's like, hey, I gotta run ordinary marathon, pop the kid in the stroller and go do a few miles. It's one of so I think it's in general, it's just, it's productive in terms of getting people to be a little more disciplined, a little more, it's that support system. And that's kind of really what I was getting at, I guess.
Absolutely. And I'm actually planning on tapping into this group for that support. I have been extremely hit or miss with my exercising. I'm not training for anything right now for various reasons, but still trying to exercise. And so I'm actually going to use these 10 days of the Ordinary Marathon to get back on the straight and narrow when it comes to my exercise and actually do something each day.
Yeah, and I know you had some medical issues. We don't need to get into that, but there's a reason that you haven't been out there. But it's like sometimes you just got to start, and sometimes when you've finished an Ironman before, so now but now you're kind of starting back up again in the beginning, and sometimes it can get frustrating. And sometimes you go out and you run a mile or run 2 miles and you're having trouble and you're like, man, I did an Ironman, or I did a marathon, or I did a half marathon, whatever. You could have done more in the past, and now you're struggling with something that you in the past had found easy. So it's like sometimes you need just a little bit extra to just get your butt out the door every day, or get, just to, and say, what, yeah, maybe I'm just going to walk a mile today, or I'm going to run a mile and walk a few, or whatever you're going to do. But I think that this race can say, especially the fact that, hey, if you run today, you're going to be in tomorrow's raffle, so you could potentially win. Well, you can't win because you're
yeah.
But still, yeah, you can't win. Forget it. That's not motivation for you. But you know what I mean? It's I think it's always been sort of like a good event that way, and I think and having it open so that people don't necessarily have to feel that pressure of I got to get my 26.2 miles in, and can still feel good about just getting out and doing a walk and just posting that. Getting out, walk the dog, walk your kid, walk your grandkid, whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever it could be. I think it lends to a great, sort of like just a great event, just a great sense of spirit.
Absolutely. And again, that's what I'm going to be using this for. And I know for me, like you said, the pressure of even doing 26 miles over 10 days, quite honestly, would be a bit much for me right now. So if it were framed like that, I would not feel very successful at the end of that 10 days. Whereas having it open like this, as long as I'm doing something, it's a success. And I'm moving closer. I'm one step closer to getting back to toeing the line at Ironman again.
Yeah, and you've had a lot of other. I mean, you've had some. We've talked about. I don't know if you ever made it public, really, but we've talked about some of the goals that you had in mind in the past. Regarding treadmills and things. But but you've had some lofty goals in the past, some really incredible ones, and and then you kind of went through your little phases there where you weren't able to kind of keep up with the exercise, but I sense you're going to be back, and maybe this is the springboard that you need to just sort of start taking steps in that direction.
Absolutely. And I think it makes the perfect vehicle to do that.
Yeah.
And so
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to kind of segue to move on to a different topic, which, we've been doing this race now 3 years.
Yes.
And, I consider it both of our races, to be honest. I know it's, I know like in 10 years from now, when this gets really successful and then you sue me for like the Facebook lawsuit, you're going to bring out this tape. But
I'm recording this, by the way.
Right. Well, I'm going to put it on publicly myself too, which is even worse. No, but we've been in this together. I kind of feel like it's our race. You and I talk a lot about it. What are, when you, and these are quite, when you start talking to people about the Ordinary Marathon, what are the questions you get? When people say, "Oh, why should I do this race?" What is your, other than the camaraderie and the, what are the major questions you get, and how do you approach them?
So really the questions that I get are really focused about, well, how do I learn more about this? Because people do like to go online and read more. And so I tell them about the Ordinary Marathoner website, the Team Ordinary, all that sort of stuff, so they can actually go and do that. But I also tell them about how it's not all at one time. You can do it over 10 days. The distance is up to you. And, I remember a few years ago, we talked about distance and, should it be 5K, 10K? And initially I wasn't really bought into the open-ended. And, but then the more I thought about it, the more we talked about it, I'm like, yeah, this is really good. And that's, I don't get a lot of questions about that because I kind of don't give people the opportunity to ask me, because once they start talking to me, I'm like, let me tell you all about it. But they do ask, how do I register and what do I get and all that sort of stuff. And I really talk up the quality of merchandise that you have. I mean, awesome shirts, medals, and how everything is custom. And it's really about not only the people that are participating in this, but about the charity, and you're probably going to bring this up later on, but the charity, the Sam Fund, that, we're doing this not for us, but for others, including us. Yeah.
Yeah. And, one of the things I love about it is it is a local charity to me. It's based in Massachusetts. It's the charity of a runner who a lot of people in the group know, Glenn Eisenstein. It's his daughter's charity. So it's very kind of near and dear to the community, which I just love. And, I raised money for the American Cancer Society in the past, and they are a wonderful charity as well. And my experience with them was incredible. I ran my first New York City Marathon for them. But I definitely feel, American Cancer Society is just huge. It's just, and I do know people specifically involved, like in the higher up echelons of that firm, of that, organization. But, even so, being able to kind of just pick up the phone and call the CEO and talk, and ask questions and talk to people, it's just more personal that way. And even just like what we were talking about with how the race is set up and that it's not a specific distance, I think that makes it original. It makes it unique. Yeah. It makes it, it's not something that it's basically something that anyone can do. And it's not, not necessarily that it's not challenging. It's challenging depending on however you want to set it up, which I think is just
your challenge.
Yeah. It's unique and it's just great. In that respect, because there's nothing, I don't see anything else out there like it.
No. And me, we go back a few years and that my stance is running sports aren't the domain of the elite athletes. Anybody of any ability has the opportunity, or should have the opportunity, to enjoy it, whatever their capacity is. And I think this format really allows that opportunity for anybody of any ability level to participate in something that they can, if they don't already have a passion for it, like you and I, they could easily build that passion. It gives them something to look forward to as well.
Yeah, and I've seen some people who, wouldn't even consider themselves runners just register for the thing thinking, hey, I'll do this for 10 days. It'll get me up off my butt and outside and in the fresh air and just walk around and do whatever, without the pressure of, forcing you to do a certain distance or worrying about not belonging. I think a lot of people, that hurdle of getting involved in running is just showing up that first race and just trying, and just pretend, trying to feel like you fit in when, like most people, if you go to 5K, 50% of people are going to finish it in, under 30 minutes. And if it's your first one, you're you don't know how you're gonna feel kind of like weird being there. I felt weird the first time there,
Yeah,
and
I did too.
and it just as you do more and more, it starts to get fun, and the you kind of get yourself into the community and more involved, and but you got to take that first few steps, and I think that this is just such an inviting, easy way to do it if you wanted to do it.
Absolutely. So I would encourage anyone who's listening to this, if you have that friend that you think maybe they could get into this, or maybe they've expressed an interest or asked me about, what is this running thing all about? Say, hey, here's an easy way to get involved with no pressure, and you're doing good at the same time for you and for others.
Yeah. And so last year we did a 5K. As part of the race, and it's something that we definitely want to investigate again next year. We're going to do it this year, and it got called off because of COVID. And there's just basically nobody's doing any outdoor races these days. So it did get canceled, unfortunately, because of that. Hopefully we'll bring it back next year. But I know last year what we did, and I don't know that we would have done this had we did not know the person that won, but when we did the 5K, we had 3 prizes from the vendor who did the 5K. And so we gave it to the first finisher, who was first finisher male, first finisher female, and then the person who came in last, we called them most ordinary, which some people might consider that an insult, but this person didn't. And but it was nice to give something. Yeah. She didn't feel at all out of place or anything like that. And she was thankful that she got the gift card and went and spent it right away. And I love that, the community itself. And I think we probably would have given it to anybody, but we had to be sensitive because people could take offense if they came in last and then got, but it was a fun thing to do. And it just, we want to reward the people who, maybe it's tough to show up on race day. And maybe you finish DFL. I've been pretty darn close to that myself, and
I have too.
I think the sport needs more people like that to just have the guts and the courage. Some people in other groups look down on the people who finish 45-minute 5Ks, but I think our group has always been supportive of anyone who goes out there and gives it a shot. No matter how much training you've done, you have the courage to show up on race day and go after it. We're glad that you're part of the group.
Absolutely. And this group attracts all varieties. We got people who do 100-mile running events, which still blows my mind. Yeah. You're an Ironman as well. And then we also have people that, walk a mile. And I think everything is legitimate. It's part of this community. And whether you are that serious athlete who this is your job is to run races, or you're just that person that just wants to move some, the sport has room for everybody. And that's what I really like about this group is we embrace everybody. And having been at that higher end, I won't say I was ever really a competitor. I was a completer, though. And I worked out 6 days a week and finished Ironman. Not while it was light, but I did finish it. And but now I find myself back at the starting line, literally. And to go, I can't even run a solid mile without walking at the moment. Yeah. So it's everybody has
It'll
that.
Come back,
that
man. It'll
potential.
come back.
It will. It will. And looking forward to it. But to your point, everyone's got to start somewhere, and the camaraderie and the support that we have is a big part of this, and something that this year being in that shoe once again is going to be kind of a interesting, humbling yet really rewarding place to be again.
Yeah, that's and it's great to have you actually participating and getting up and moving and being a part of it again. One of the things that you mentioned earlier that I do want to talk about is, and really this is you, we try to keep the race manageable in terms of cost for people. And I think we raised the price this year from $25 to $30, but really if you're not, you can find a coupon code out there. They're all over the place to take $5 off and be back at 25. Of that, I think our goal every year is to give $10 per entry to charity. so our margin there is very, very thin. We have all kinds of other costs involved. But the one thing that we never kind of cheap out on is the metals.
Yes.
And that is something that you've always designed, be it the metal itself, be it the ribbon of the metal and all that stuff. And every year I get it and I'm like, judging by our prior shirt designs, which I was involved in, and criticized for, it's, it's good that I just step back and I'm glad that you kind of handle that for me. And really we deliver a really great metal. And I think in the very beginning, our question was, do we give away the shirt as part of the package or do we give away the metal as part, and the thing is I think the metal just signifies that you did something. The shirt is the shirt. It's going to sit in your, it's going to sit in your closet. It's going to, and if you're a runner, you probably have hundreds of them. And, but the metal, you can hang on the metal rack. Yeah, here it is. You can hang, I think I have mine right here too. I have mine right here too. I can actually, I'm videotaping this. So, it's a great metal. It's, it's incredible. And I think, it's something that you could throw on the metal rack and it's substantial. It's not like some of these 5Ks and stuff. You get these little plastic metals that are, that look cheap, that blow away in the wind. But this thing is substantial. And I think it really goes to show that you accomplished something, over that 10-day period. And that, I think this is your idea and, did a good job. Great job this year.
Well, thank you. I definitely have to give credit to, and I'm having a senior moment, and I'm totally blanking on the Ordinary Marathon person that actually did the artwork design.
Oh, it's Jen Bergstrom. Yes.
Jen. Yes. I was going to say Jen, but
and she'd be very mad if I didn't mention her, actually. So I'm glad you.
Yes. And of course, our friends at Ashworth Awards that help us out with the design. Dan Ashworth, who owns it, he's a great guy. John, who is the sales exec that I work with, wonderful guy, super, super kind. And you know what? They put on a great, they make a really great product, and I think they're the top in the industry. So having that memento, it's got to be right. So I'm glad that you like the quality work, and I want to make that kind of a signature piece.
Yeah, no, I definitely do. And I think, when I make decisions for this race, and I say I, but it's funny though. Sometimes I think sometimes I think that my brain is like a little crazy and I do some really weird stuff at times. I make weird, like I would say that probably in the beginning, the decision to go with the metal over the shirt, because I'm a sort of utilitarian. I know you probably are too. I know you have a garden in the backyard. I'm the same way. It's like, I don't want to waste things. I don't want to, and I know that the metal is, some people are going to hang it up and some people are going to put a draw and never see it. Some people might even throw it away. But I doubt that. I mean, it's a nice metal. But I feel like it speaks to the spirit of the race. But, when it comes to developing this race, I always feel like you have a gazillion ideas all the time and you just kind of just throw them up in the air. And I go, yeah, that one's all right. That one's good. That one's good, but there ain't no way I'm doing it.
Is that the last one I threw up at you?
I don't even remember. Over the last 3 years, there's been a lot of them. And, but some of them I think we've used, and I think we've talked about the future of this race and what it could be, and I think the two of us, like, I don't know, like I get just talking to the people that get involved with this race, and when people email me and say, how do I register, and say, oh, I haven't registered yet, but of course I'm going to register. We do it every year, and I think it's so inviting. Like, this race is so inviting to new people who haven't participated in the past, that, you don't have to feel like you're, you can jump in, you feel like part of the group, just start talking on the Facebook page or doing whatever. I know that there are probably people out there that probably withhold, like posting on the Facebook group and stuff like that. But it's not an intimidating group at all. It's a very open group. And I think, we've let it sort of naturally grow on its own. We haven't really been pounding, we don't have any margins to advertise, right? That's one of the things that we talk about all the time. Man, I wish we had $1,000. I wish we had some money to kind of put into advertising and throw this out there a little bit better. but it's just kind of the fact that it's naturally grown. I think it brings in the right people. And
absolutely.
And
excuse me.
Yeah. So we've talked about, expanding things in the future and how to do it. And we've had some like great, ideas like, hey, we should be like the next rock and roll marathon series and things like that. And, and some of them are like really cool ideas. And, I think about it and I think about the level of participation. I think about today's society where we are now, in terms of virtual racing. This is the year of virtual racing.
I know it. Virtual racing's been around for 60, 70 years from its beginnings, and it's only been like in the last 8 or 10 years that it's really become a name of its own. But this year, when you see, and I think it really hit the mark when 2 years ago New York City offered a virtual version, with the reward being you get a spot in the following year if you complete it. But with one of the 6 majors saying, yeah, we're going to do a virtual, and now this year everybody is doing it. Yeah. Probably because they put a lot into their race and they have all this merchandise that they're just going to lose. But really, I think it's a great launching point to really solidify the validity of virtual racing. Whether you go somewhere with thousands of other people or you do it in your own neighborhood, you got to put your shoes on, you got to move, and you got to do the distance.
Yeah,
it's the same either way. Yep. So it's just as legitimate.
Yeah, and we had a conversation with the Sam Fund the other day. And one of the things they noted to us, and it's something that I think kind of falls by the wayside in all of this, is that one of the ways that charities raise money is through fundraising events, golf tournaments, dinners, charity dinners, balls, whatever you want to call them, conventions, that kind of stuff. And this year, you're not able to do any of that stuff, Yeah. And so this was like, they threw a lot of support our way this year and said, hey, we're not able to do this other stuff, but this is like, come to think of it, this is like a great idea. This is like a COVID-proof event.
It is.
I mean, if you have a treadmill in your basement, you can be part of this if you really got, in lockdown. But, thankfully,
we're running a marathon in your backyard.
You see people doing that all the time, right? I was thinking about it. I was thinking I could like blaze a trail around the outside, and then I never have to leave the house. I could just stay in the. Yeah. All I got to do is put the pool in the middle, and then, you do a few miles around the house and jump in the pool. That'd be great. You
could put the backyard triathlon.
Right, you could put the bike out on the Zwift and never leave the house. Virtual triathlon. That's the one we're talking about that. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. I do get part of my crowd who are like, dude, you used to be a runner. Like, what happened? Now everything's triathlon. So I have to be a little sensitive.
Absolutely.
I have to be a little sensitive to my running crowd. But listen, what did we miss here? I feel like this conversation always goes by so fast. Every time I talk to you, it's like I should talk to you every day because I get so excited. It gets me so excited about the race. It gives me a lot of energy. And then I wind up getting sidetracked for the next week, and I don't get that energy back. So, do we miss anything? You had a list of questions before, and did we get to all those topics?
I think we got to most of them. I would just say, the reason why we're putting this on, not only for us as the members of your group and being active, it's also for raising money for the Sam Fund. I'm actually excited that we've covered all of our expenses for the race thus far and have a little bit to donate. I'm not going to share how much yet. I'll let you have the honor of that after the event, like you normally do. But we could do so much more and be able to share. And this is what I like about the smaller organizations is $1 goes so much further and so much more meaningful and impactful. Yes, we're going to be able to donate money this year to the Sam Fund, but we want to do more. I want to do more. So if you're not registered, please, I'm sure Scott's going to put a link at along with this, please go and register if you're not. And if you are, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, come register, be part of this. We want to be able to help those folks at Sam Fund, and that, I don't know, I'm sure for you, but for me, I've got cancer in the family, and so this is something that's really close to my heart, and this is another reason why I'm really proud to be part of this.
Yeah.
So, yes,
it does go to help people who are definitely in need. And it's individual lives that it's touched too. And we've spoken to the people at the Sam Fund about potentially delineating even further where our money goes, so that we would know perhaps the specific person or people where that money goes, and they can, that we can be in touch and find out, hey, this is what, this is exactly what all this effort went to helping. Yeah. We're in the midst of talk, because I think that would help too. I think knowing specifically where the money would go would be great. So it's one of those things that we're looking into, and we're going to be talking with them in the next couple of weeks, and devising new and better things for next year's race. Hopefully, it's always registration. I think this could be like our one of our taglines. Registration is always open.
Yeah, absolutely. Open until we no longer have stock, and they'll order more.
Right.
And speaking of which, I have gotten all of the packets sent out. So now we're at the mercy of the United States Post Office. And there are 4 people from Canada that you should get your package before the race is over, but I can't guarantee that it'll be at the start. But everyone else should get it before Friday.
That's awesome. Always doing all the grunt work.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, listen, Scott, thanks so much again for all your hard work, for coming on the show again today. I'm looking forward to next year's race. It's, I'm looking forward to the next 15 days or so, and then already looking forward to next year's race and planning it ahead. I thank you for all the work you do. You've been a very integral part of the success here.
Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate it. I like your leadership on this, and it's great partnering with you on this. And I look forward to next year as well.
Great. All right. With that, we're gonna call it quits for today. That was Scott Frasard. I thank him again so much for coming on the show and talking about our virtual race, the Ordinary Marathon, which starts on Friday. May 8th. It goes through 10 days through May 17th. We will be doing, and I don't know, Scott, if you're going to be involved in this too, but the last couple of years we've been doing, we call it a Midnight Madness Mile, which is on Thursday night. So as soon as that clock turns to midnight and officially the Ordinary Marathon opens, we've been doing what we call a Midnight Madness Mile. And a few of us will do it. If you want to stay up and you want to join us, we'll be posting our finished runs up on the webpage. By the way, it's on Facebook. It's a closed group. It's called Ordinary Marathoners, plural. So you got to add yourself to that group. Look for it, search for it, add yourself to the group. We'll put you through right away. And you can join the group there. One of the things that I should mention, by the way, is if you're a participant in the race, after you finish running, take a picture of yourself, your dog, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. Take pictures while you're out running, post them to social media, use that hashtag Ordinary Marathon. What we do is we collect all those pictures. And I think this is actually one of the really cool benefits of this race is we put together a race video after. And the video I put it together myself. 2 years ago, it was good. Last year, it was better. I'm getting better at editing. I'm getting better. I'm working at it. So this year I expect it to be even better. The only thing is I need pictures. So hopefully you guys will take a bunch of pictures when you're out running. Use that hashtag Ordinary Marathon, whether it's on Twitter. You can find me over at Ordinary Race. That's the page for the Twitter account for the race itself, or you can find me at Ord Marathoner. That's ORD Marathoner. And you can tag me, or you could just use that hashtag Ordinary Marathon, or you can do our discussion group and post it in Facebook discussion group. Or the Ordinary Marathon page itself on Facebook. So all those are options for you. Like I said, if you post a run on a certain day, the next day you'll be eligible for the raffle. We've got a bunch of great prizes too this year to give away. I've been running through those on some other podcasts, so I won't go through the list right now. But anyway, again, Scott Frasard, thank you so much. And remember, every day is an ordinary day unless you make it extraordinary. So get after it, guys.